What's going on, guys? It's your favourite internet disappointment back again, making a video on this godforsaken platform, and today we got something a little bit more different. Because today I bring forward to you my review of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, released in 2022. I don't think words can describe how much of a letdown Modern Warfare 2 is. It really dropped the ball on the Call of Duty franchise. The reason why it dropped the ball on the Call of Duty franchise is it left us with a series of false promises, terrible marketing, and deception. I'm going to get into that right now. After the national video game tragedy that was Call of Duty Vanguard, the Call of Duty community waited patiently for the next blockbuster release, and it was getting heavily marketed as COD 2.0, stepping the next era within the blockbuster franchise. The expectations were set, and now it was just a matter of waiting for more details on what made this title unique. Modern Warfare 2019 revitalized the Call of Duty franchise admittedly, despite the pure problems with the gameplay style and the multiplayer experience within that style. And we'd thought that after 2019 that Infinity Ward would take in the criticisms we provided with their game and make it move forward and build upon it in Modern Warfare 2, and unfortunately Infinity Ward built upon this game in all the wrong ways. To put it simply, Modern Warfare 2 misses the mark on what makes Call of Duty an enjoyable franchise, and instead trades it off for almost trying to copy the style of games like Rainbow Six Siege and other very heavy tactical based shooters. However, it's important to note that Call of Duty at its core is meant to be a fast-paced arena shooter. Take games like Black Ops 4, Black Ops 2, or even the classic Modern Warfare trilogy, and you can tell that the maps aren't giant, they're collapsed maps that basically push you to move fast, be on target, and get as many kills as possible. What Modern Warfare is not in the franchise is a slow-paced shooter that punishes players for not playing the way that they intend. The way that they intend is for players to, and I quote, take their time and read the situation, and some players don't want to do that, and when you punish them and you basically falsely market your title, you're going to get a pushback, and let's talk about that pushback. Because the pushback in itself is actually the fact that it right now sits at a very low player count, and it also has the lowest user review score on Steam right now in the franchise. But you might be asking, why is it such low reviewed? Well, it's got quite a lot of problems, and fans for so long during this entire life cycle of this title have said where it needs to be fixed, and Infinity Ward have not acknowledged it. They doubled down, stuck to their guns, and just continued to throw in new maps, and that's it. But 99% of the maps aren't even new. They are either cut off sections of the Warzone map or sections from the campaign map that they market as new maps. This kind of problematic approach to a blockbuster title is what ultimately was the death of this game. If a community is basically telling you that you are making a mistake in terms of a change to the gameplay, it's probably good for you to listen to them, not stick to your guns and double down. But anyway, let's get into the really main big issues, because the issues lie far beyond just the gameplay experience and actually the microtransaction experience. See, when you have a game like Modern Warfare 2, when you look at the original being like one of the most critically acclaimed titles in the franchise, and then you try and reboot that, it would make sense to honour what made the original so great, but they don't do that. In actual fact, I would argue they've tainted the original game, because there's so many issues with how they've gone about this. They've only catered to one play style, and those are the campers, but I'm not calling them sentinels because, well, they've just ruined the fun. But when you cater to one side of your community, of course you're going to have this divide. The whole job of a game like Call of Duty is to appeal to all sides, and to find middle ground between all playstyles, and Modern Warfare 2 fails to do that. Instead, it encourages a much more slower loop. Now, to be honest, I will say that the one good thing that came out of Modern Warfare 2 was a campaign. The campaign was pretty solid, although I don't think it was as good as Modern Warfare 19, but still regardless, it was a very solid campaign. The campaign not only introduced the characters we know and love back again, it also introduced some new ones, including a new character that the internet could not stop thirsting over for an entire 6 months straight.
Can you do that to me?
¡Pendejo de mierda! No tenemos ni puta idea de quién es este güey, ya nos vio la cara.
Valeria, necesitamos servicios de inteligencia. Él puede ayudarnos.
I think there's even a few more that are still continuing to thirst over it today. The biggest problem with Modern Warfare 2's multiplayer not only was the direction or the microtransactions, it was just the system as a whole. The idea of creating a Call of Duty that aimed to be slower paced and also have systems that were needlessly implemented should be a recipe for disaster in itself, and unfortunately that's exactly what happened. From pointless changes to the gunsmith system to the perk system and the overall gameplay flow of this title, Modern Warfare 2 was set to be one of the most disastrous post-launches ever seen in the franchise, somehow managing to surpass Call of Duty Vanguard. And I generally didn't believe that anything could get worse than that, but they done it, so fair play, I guess. Another massive problem came with the attachments to different weapons that across the board resulted in the reduction of your character's movement. This in itself is a problem because some players like to rush the enemy team, and when you reduce them from that, not only are you stopping from playing the way that they like to play, you're encouraging a playstyle that ultimately results in quite a bland experience. Now let's get into why the microtransactions was a problem. The problem I have with microtransactions in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is that some of the bundles that users purchase actually provides an unfair advantage, or what's known as a pay to win. For example, one of the sniper bundles you could buy from the gunsmith actually resulted in a clearer scope, and therefore meaning that it was a lot more easier to hit your enemy on sight. Another example is a bundle you could buy for DMZ, where you had a constant UAV every time you started, and then ultimately that meant that you had a head start over others. Bearing in mind, these bundles are not advertised as pay to win. The biggest deception of all in this franchise was the way that they said that this was going to be supported throughout 2 years and that this game is going to have so much content. They honestly lied about this. The biggest problem being the content wise is that half of the maps were scrapped from Warzone or just cut off sections of campaign, or maps we'd already seen that they just altered slightly. In actual fact, I would argue some of the remastered maps they'd done for Modern Warfare 2 actually ruined the original feel to what made those maps unique. This could be through the spawn logic or just the way that some people play. It ultimately slows down the pacing and makes the mode far less enjoyable and makes the maps less memorable than what they used to be. And once again, it goes back to the original comment I had. If you have a community that's telling you that your game design ideas are not working, and that they suggest you change it, you probably should listen, because the community at the end of the day is the one that wants to see your game succeed, not fail. And when you shut them out because you decide to double down and stick to your guns about how you envision this game to be in the long run, the chances are it's going to fail much more quicker than anticipated. And I'm going to laugh so hard if Modern Warfare 3 gets a higher score than Modern Warfare 2 and has higher retention, because the retention of Modern Warfare 2 is so poor, it makes McDonald's look affordable. The perk system across the board is terrible. I don't know why Infinity Ward felt the need to change something that has been a staple of the franchise for years, because it ultimately, once again, and this is what I reiterate, is every single change Infinity Ward has made to this mode results it in just being a slow game across the board. But the core change to the perk system was just so unnecessary. I don't know why they would sit there and think that you're going to earn the perks throughout the match. I don't know what they were thinking, and I'm very glad Sledgehammer is reverting that change in the form of gears. But this message now at the end is what I'm going to deliver to Infinity Ward as a whole. I will not be buying a Call of Duty from you if you're going to keep the same design mechanics as you have in this game into your next one. You have a flawed design system, you do not listen to fans, and ultimately, this is what killed your game. It wasn't age that killed the game, it was your decisions and your creative direction of the multiplayer systems. The multiplayer systems you implemented in this title resulted in something that should never be seen in the franchise again. You made needless changes and you alienated, once again, much like Modern Warfare 19, a core portion of the multiplayer community in favour of catering to new players. You shouldn't need to cater to new players if your first game already done that. Because the first game is what always introduces players to your world, and you don't need to reintroduce them in the second one. Stop lying to your fans, stop deceiving them, start being honest with the communication of what your game is going to be about. Stop trying to nostalgia bait, and instead start actually trying to create a game that will last longer than Modern Warfare 2 did. Because at the end of the day, Modern Warfare 2 is the perfect example of the well-known saying, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Nothing about the core gameplay was broken. In actual fact, Modern Warfare 2 makes Modern Warfare 19 look like a masterpiece. Hell, I would rather play Vanguard than continuously play Modern Warfare 2, because at least you had a development team that were taking in feedback, that were listening to the responses, and trying to salvage the flaws of what made Vanguard a rough experience. So thank you to everyone for listening, thank you for your continued support, and thank you over the past few weeks for getting me to nearly 600 subscribers. It means a lot. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you'd like to see more, and tell me your thoughts on Modern Warfare 2. Do you think it was a good game? I'd love to hear it. Take care, and goodbye.